Released in 1954, The Creature from the Black Lagoon is essentially a cult classic in the sci-fi horror genre. This movie revolved around a strange monster that lurked in the depths of the Black Lagoon and inspired several remakes and comic series over the years. Among many such spins on this classic movie, there have been rumors about a new remake that has been in the works for some time. Recently, James Wan confirmed his involvement in the movie, and today we shall tell you everything we know about this project. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What was the original Creature from the Black Lagoon all about? Before we dive into the details of the remake, let us take a minute to glance at the original 1954 film directed by Jack Arnold. It followed an expedition crew as they explored the Amazon forests in search of some fossils, wherein their excavation eventually went downhill after they encountered this creature. Soon enough, this amphibious creature, aka the Gill Man, started targeting the crew and even killed two of them before setting his eyes on the crew's leader's girlfriend. As the movie inched closer to its finale, the survivors realized that the only way out was through the Black Lagoon, where they would have to face the creature again. The movie was quite gripping, and it kept the viewers on the edge of their seats until the very end, where the creature somehow manages to survive despite being shot all over. The movie was followed by two sequels that did not fare well, and recently, Image Comics released a sequel comic series that explored the creature's appearances. Confirmation of the remake. Given the popularity of the original Creature from the Black Lagoon series, fans have been waiting with bated breath for quite some time for a remake. Finally, this long overdue project has picked up some pace, and James Wan has pitched an idea for it to Universal Studios. Famously known for his contribution to movies such as Saw, The Conjuring, and Insidious, Wan certainly seems like an ideal candidate to take this horror idea and put a modern spin on it. Over time, it was reported that Universal Studios had approved Wan's pitch for a remake, and we can certainly trust him to see this project through. In fact, James Wan is hoping to direct the project under his production house, Atomic Monster, which recently merged with Blumhouse. While Wan has stepped up as the producer and director, Atomic Monster's Michael Clear and Judson Scott are the executive producers who are attached to this remake. What is the development status of this project? Now that James Wan has finally gotten the green light for this remake, the project is in its initial development stages. The production house is allegedly looking for a scriptwriter to work alongside Wan and set things in motion for the casting and production. While such projects often fall through before reaching the production stage, Universal Studios have been quite picky about handing the rights to the film to just anyone, and Wan seems to have genuinely caught their eye with his pitch. He appears to be determined to bring this remake to life, and we can hope that he's successful in this attempt. History of remake attempts. Over the years, numerous filmmakers have eyed the Creature from the Black Lagoon franchise and hoped to remake it in one way or the other. The franchise died down after the release of two sequels titled Revenge of the Creature in 1955 and The Creature Walks Among Us in 1956, respectively. After these sequels did not fare well, the creators decided to abandon this franchise set within the world of Universal classic monsters. On the other hand, other movies in this universe, such as The Mummy and Dracula, went on to do well at the box office and inspired several sequels and remakes. However, this did not discourage several creators from suggesting their own version of a remake, and many have tried and failed to bring this story to life over the past few decades. In fact, there was a recent attempt to integrate the creature into the Universal's Dark Universe storyline, and Will Beall was looped in to write this installment's scripts. While the audiences hoped to see the Gill Man appear in a Dark Universe monster storyline, the leading producers of this universe, Chris Morgan and Alex Kurtzman, eventually scrapped this idea. This was done in the wake of the commercial failure of the Mummy remake, which demotivated the producers from creating any more movies within this world. Instead, they announced that they would be reconfiguring the Dark Universe, but nothing further has been finalized. Filmmakers such as John Landis and John Carpenter from iconic horror movies such as An American Werewolf in London and Halloween have also tried their hand at pitching ideas for this franchise. Ivan Reitman tried to develop this film in the 90s, and even Gary Ross wrote a script for it in the 2000s. Unfortunately, all their attempts to modernize this classic creature fell through, and even Guillermo del Toro tried his hand at pitching an idea that never worked out. about. He wanted to depict this creature as a sympathetic figure who falls for a human, but the producers weren't quite interested in turning this horror figure into a romantic one. Interestingly, Del Toro continued to pitch this idea, and it eventually materialized in the form of the 2017 hit The Shape of Water. Coming back to the creature from the Black Lagoon, fans have wondered how so many famous names in the industry failed to get this project going. However, it turns out that Universal Studios was just looking for an idea that lives up to the original movie's plot. All about James Wan's plans to modernize the story. Ever since James Wan confirmed that he's working on a remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, fans have quite high expectations from this project. With the recent failure of many movies centered around the Universal monsters, Wan has a lot of pressure to make this film work, especially since the creature is an original creation rather than an adaptation such as Dracula or Frankenstein's monster. However, James Wan seems relatively unaffected by this pressure, and he's decided to modernize the story for contemporary audiences. In a press briefing, he stated that the remake would be a modern spin on the original storyline and that it would lean into a visceral horror genre in a way that pays respect to the cult classic. Hopefully, Gilman's character also gets some touch-ups in terms of character design, as it's been decades since the original movie came out, and we've made a lot of advances in technology and special effects since then. There have been rumors about how the movie will focus on the creature's tragic fate and portray him as a sympathetic character who is merely misunderstood as a monster. While he was introduced as a monster in the original film, a recent comic miniseries delved deeper into his character as he wandered around in nature and tried to fight off any invaders who had started destroying his home. In this way, he has quite an edge over the other monsters in this universe, as he is not inherently evil in nature. While Dracula or other such monsters seek out victims, Gilman is the furthest thing from a power-hungry, devious creature. He is a symbol of the powers held within the natural world, as he stays within the Black Lagoon while humans bother him or show up in his home. In this way, the creature can be described as a curious being who wanders the isolated Black Lagoon and only shows his aggressive side when he feels threatened by any trespasser's actions. This idea might sound similar to Del Toro's version of Gilman, but James Wan certainly has what it takes to put a horror spin on this rather sympathetic creature. There is a whole lot of potential for storyline with some environmental issues, such as habitat loss and deforestation, wherein Gilman can step out of his natural comfort zone to exact revenge on humans after they destroy the tributaries and rivers that make up his home. In this way, this remake could provide some social commentary on issues such as pollution and the destruction of fragile ecosystems and depict the Gilman as a true protector of nature. He can step up to defend the environment, which would portray him as a hero as opposed to a cruel monster who massacres anybody who steps into his territories. Many franchises, such as the Planet of the Apes or Legendary's Monsterverse, have also used this concept to modernize their story arcs, and there's no reason why this would not serve as a decent premise for James Wan's remake as well. In fact, the recent Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives comic series also explored a similar storyline, wherein this creature was a harmless entity who got caught up in the evil acts of humans and hybrid beings. While James Wan has not revealed much about his intentions for the remake, he has more than delivered when it comes to horror movies in the past, and we can surely expect something wonderful from him. Marvelous verdict. And that's all, folks. James Wan's ideas for this remake have already impressed the executives at Universal Studios, and the promise of a modernized retelling has caught the audience's attention as well. Hopefully, the film will make it past the development stage this time around, and Wan's vision will come to life on the big screen. In the meantime, all we can do is wait patiently for more updates and maybe even rewatch the original classic before the new remake takes our breath away. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.